So chances are that you're watching this video because you're struggling with feeling anxiety or are feeling particularly worried about something. And I want to share something that has been really, really helpful in my own experience with anxiety, in really it being completely different to what it used to be, and also what I share with my clients in my coaching programs. So in our society and in our belief system is a bit of a pervasive belief that anxiety and feeling worried about things comes from the circumstances in our life, comes from the things that we have to do, comes from the things that we have to deal with. And I want to gently, well, maybe not gently, maybe quite strongly poke a hole in that, because if we believe that the anxiety that we're feeling, the stress that we're feeling, the worry that we're feeling is coming from our circumstances, then quite naturally, because we don't enjoy or like or can't handle the feeling of anxiety or worry, quite naturally, what we choose to do, our life just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So I've seen this with so many people that I've worked with who've been struggling with anxiety and have come to me for help and support and a way out, is that they started to notice anxiety was showing up and it looked like it was coming from maybe driving, or it looked like it was coming from parties, or it looked like it was coming from giving a talk at work. And then because they thought that was true, they've started to say no to things and their world just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And this may be you, this may be your experience. And certainly I've experienced this at times in my life as well. So that's why we really do want to see the truth about how anxiety is working, because otherwise we are going to end up with just this microscopic little life that we know we're not happy in, and we tend to just feel anxious anyway. And then we get into sort of low self-esteem and feeling rubbish about ourselves because we're saying no to things that we know we really want to do, or with things we think we should do, and it all just ends up in a bit of a spiral. So what I want to point to is that our circumstances, the things we have to do in life, it's impossible for those to create feelings in us. Now, it can look really real that the circumstance is the thing that's creating the feeling. So, for example, I'm going to the dentist this afternoon. Now, if I have had anxiety about the dentist in the past, which I don't, I'm going to use it as an example. If it's something that I felt anxious about in the past, I would now be working myself up into it. I've got to go to the dentist. I know I need to go to the dentist for a checkup. I've got to go, but it's making me feel really anxious. And at some point, if I started to really buy into that and know that thinking that this was true, the anxiety is coming from the experience of going to the dentist, then it's very well that I might cancel my appointment or have not have booked it in the first place. So I definitely know lots of people who haven't been to the dentist for years because they believe that the anxiety and panic that they feel when they're there is coming from being in the dentist. But what if that isn't true? So it might be true that for you, you feel anxiety, maybe not all the time, but pretty much some of the time when you're doing a certain activity, like going to the dentist, or for some people it's driving a car, other people it's going to a party, other people it's giving a talk, any numerous amount of things. Some people can get a bit habitual about their anxiety. But what we want to start to notice is, even if you have pretty regularly a feeling of anxiety when you think about doing a certain thing, or when you're actually in it doing a certain thing, if we can step back and see, that doesn't mean that everybody is experiencing anxiety about that. So we also know, even if we're really worried about going to the dentist, we also know that there's plenty of people who just show up at the dentist with no thought about it at all. So if it was coming from the circumstance, going to the dentist, then every single person who went to the dentist would feel worried about it. But that isn't how it's working. The experience of anxiety and worry, or any other emotion, is always coming from inside of us. It's coming from our thinking in the moment, our thought in the moment, our psychology passing through us. That's 100% of the time where anxiety is coming from. So we have, if you imagine on one track here, like imagine a train track, we have one track here that is going to the dentist. Then we have another track here, which is our thinking. And those two tracks never actually meet. They never meet in the middle. They just run alongside each other, because we know that we've got lots of people here who have going to the dentist, and we have people who have no thought about it at all. We have people who have mild worry. We have people who might quite enjoy it. We have people who go into utter panic. We have people who have to have tranquilizers before they go. There's loads of different experiences of the dentist going on over here. And that's because this is all coming from the power of thought, or the energy of thought that's coming to us in the moment. And that's what it's only ever anxious feeling on this side, anxious thought on this side that is creating an anxious feeling. It's never coming from the dentist. And you can also see this in experiences of like being on a plane, flying. So I don't particularly enjoy the experience of flying. And I tend to have a bit of anxious, worried thinking coming up. But so why this is helpful to me to know this is that even though I think it's the plane, the flying, that's creating the anxiety within me, if I might believe that for a moment, when I can pull back and I can realize, oh, I know this isn't coming from the flying. I know this isn't coming from the plane, because otherwise my husband, my son, and all the other 300 people on the plane would all be in a similar anxious state. And I know that isn't true. There's so many people who get on a plane and absolutely adore it and love it. So in terms of helping me to manage that experience, when I can pull back and know, oh, okay, it's not coming from the plane, it's just coming from my mind getting really revved up, lots of overthinking that's creating a feeling of anxiety, I can just let that be there. So it's on this track, it's just there, it's just bubbling along. I don't have to buy into it, I don't have to believe it. I do have to experience it, I do have to feel it, I do have to let it be there. But when I know it's not coming from the aeroplane, it's not coming from the dentist, it's not coming from a health condition, it's not coming from money, all of those things, when I know it's never coming from there, it makes it so much easier just to be with the experience, to know that it's going to pass, that the anxiety, and this is really key, the anxiety is never telling us what we should or shouldn't do. It's never telling us when it's here, oh, this anxiety that I'm feeling, the worry I'm feeling means I shouldn't go to the dentist. This anxiety, this worry here means I shouldn't get on a plane. The anxiety and worry here means I shouldn't say yes to that party. That's not what it's telling us. The anxiety and the worry, the busyness of the mind, the racing thinking, all of the feelings that go with it is only ever telling us one thing. You're up in your head believing a story. So I'm going to say that again. It's never telling us yes or no to what we should do in life. It's never telling us about our circumstances. This is something I need to worry about. Anxiety and worry is really going to help here. It's not saying that. What it's trying to wake us up to is you're up in your head's got super busy, your thoughts are racing, invariably you're believing a story about what's going to happen or the future or what it means about you. It's trying to wake you up to that. You're lost in your head, you're not in the present moment, and you're believing something that isn't true. That's why it feels bad. It feels bad for a reason. It's trying to wake you up. So when we can really know this about circumstances here, thoughts and feelings here, a whole world of possibility opens up to us. So where our life got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, suddenly, bit by bit, as you start to see this more in your day-to-day life, as you start to see, oh, and this is a really helpful place to look. So I've gone off on a tangent there. See that other people don't react in the same way to you, to the same circumstance. That's how I really saw this. When I saw, oh, my husband is feeling completely different about this exact same circumstance as me, I knew then it wasn't coming from the circumstance. So once we can start to see that, our world then gets a bit bigger and a bit bigger and a bit bigger, until eventually there's nothing that we have to say no to, unless we just don't want to do it. There's nothing we have to say no to because we're fearing it's going to create anxiety or stress within us. There's nothing that we can't achieve. There's nothing we can't accomplish, because it's never coming from the circumstances. It's always coming inside of us. So as a final thing, as I said, a way to explore this is to see how other people can be in exactly the same circumstance as you, and have a completely different experience. So, for example, if you're an anxious flyer, see those people who look really calm and happy. If you are someone who struggles with health anxiety, see those people who might feel grotty when they're ill, but they don't have all of that anxiety and worry that goes along with it. See if there's people who are, if you're really anxious about money, see that there's people with similar income levels to you who feel completely differently about it. Just see if you can start noticing that, because honestly, it's so freeing to know that there is no circumstance that can make you feel anything. There's no circumstance that can make you feel anxious. It's always coming from within you. We're not doing it on purpose. And it's going to pass. It's going to change. So I hope this has been helpful. Please do like and subscribe to my channel so that you will receive notifications when new videos appear from me. Also, please do sign up to my mailing list so you will receive a weekly email from me, special offers and a little gift. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Bye.